Hello and welcome. This is going to be a divine masculine energy check-in. I have not done one of these in a while, and this is going to be kind of a shorter one because I noticed that when I was going to go do this, that Divine Maverick's going to be on soon, and I love catching her readings. I definitely recommend you check her out, especially her live readings. Any case, so I'm going to just go, okay, let's do preliminaries first. There's a song that I heard just a little bit ago that when I was thinking about doing Divine Masculine check-in, felt really strongly. You might check it out. It's called Promise to Love. Can't remember who it was by. In any case, you might check that out. And then it's funny, there's a song that comes up every so often, especially when I'm thinking about doing channeled messages or check-ins, and it's that you spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby, right round, round, round. And that energy feels like it is definitely kicked in right now. So I'm going to start us out with the Rider-Waite deck after I've already pulled cards from it. So in our shadow card position for masculines, we have the Six of Cups, which means masculines right now for this collective are reminiscing. They're feeling very nostalgic, and they're possibly thinking about giving you a gift. This was also a card that came up in the weekly reading that I did, and white flowers or white stars may be significant, and it's likely that they're thinking, they're praying for a miracle is what it is. Think about the star card. They're praying for guidance. They're trying to figure out how to make up for being jerks, and they may also be trying to figure out how to, I'm going to say there's two. It's funny, there's like this weird light blinking behind me. I guess it's people passing in front of a bright car. But that reminds me of the star card too. It's almost like a disco light, isn't it? A little smoky disco light. You know what it reminds me of? Okay, so in terms of this reading, what it reminds me of is like when you're just opening your eyes and you're seeing the light come in, right? And you're like, well, it's really bright, right? And I think that that's partly where a lot of masculines that I'm picking up on are. And so that's their shadow work right now, though, is healing the past. And sometimes the Six of Cups can be about releasing your exes and healing childhood wounds. It can also be about reconciliation. So for some of you, it may be that your masculines are really thinking about reconciliation. And if you share children, it could also be that they're really thinking about that connection. Now, in the Hot Topic card, we have the Hangman reverse. And that one, it's funny. So I still had the cards out that were there when I did the weekly reading, but I was very specific about making sure that they got fully shuffled in, so there was no way that they could just pop out. Now, they didn't pop out in the same order that they did last time, but they're still there, and so that for me, I mean, maybe you check out the weekly reading, it might hold more keys for you. But that Hanged Man reverse is Hot Topic, so it's a topic talking about hypocrisy, procrastination, stalling, manipulation, being stuck in one way of thinking. So that's what they're talking about right now. And if they're not talking with you about it, they're probably talking with their friends. And if they're in a karmic situationship, they're probably talking with them, or they're praying about it, because the Hangman card in general is about prayer. Now, we also have, tomorrow is the Gateway of Surrender, 12/12. So I'm not surprised to again see more energy from the Hanged Man. So for these masculines in this reading that I'm picking up on, they're likely taking a look at how they've been hypocrites and those around them are being hypocrites, and they're probably trying to figure out how to surrender to what their heart really wants and stop letting their ego get in the way. But the Hangman reverse can often be about shedding those layers, so it's at very least in the forefront of their minds. Now let's see what the heart of the matter is. Interesting. Justice. Look at that. Balance, truth, and karma. It could very well be, I mean, with that, with the Six of Cups in their shadow card position, so they likely want reconciliation, but they're not ready to speak it yet, and that's probably what they're thinking about. That's probably what the Hanged Man thing is about, is like they're ready to be done with not being with you and not being at least in some sort of healthy dynamic. It could be a friendship with this. They want some sort of a healthy connection, a healthy spiritual connection, but there are third parties in the way and likely brought in by them. And so they're really probably looking at what do they need to do to get out of that, and kind of feeling like hypocrites, like, you know, and look for your own thoughts and see what reflections are in there. Is there anything that you've done recently that you feel like a hypocrite about, or like anything that you've been procrastinating working on, especially in terms of self-care or freeing yourself from toxic situations or bad habits, things like that? If so, that's what they're doing too, and it's beautiful. Reflect each other. Now, the cards that we got, I was only going to do 3, but 5 wanted to come out, so we're going to look at all 5. So we have 8 of Swords. Excuse me, 9 of Swords. And the 7 of Swords are in reverse. The High Priestess. The 3 of Pentacles reversed. And the Devil reversed. So these are an interesting set of cards to come in here. Now, immediately, that 9 of Swords tells me that masculines, if they're not actually crying, they want to. Their situation feels like torture. They are so tired of it. They're so done with it. It feels like, whoa, shit. Okay, somebody almost backed into my car. Goodness sakes. A big truck too. And I'm a fan of once I'm doing a reading, whatever comes up in the reading is valid. And so for me, that means that it's likely that they're feeling like their situation is going to crash soon. And it may be that the karmics that they're with have created such a situation that their own messes are crashing into the masculine's messes and all the rest of it, like a domino sort of thing. I mean, I had that picture of he's going to smack into the back of my car. It wouldn't have hurt me per se, but I was getting ready to brace for it. And so that's synchronistic to me. The masculines are getting ready to brace for a big tower moment, a big crash moment, and that makes sense for the 7 of Swords in here too, because that's about facing the consequences of manipulation, of lying, cheating, deception, being in a victim mentality, things like that. And a lot of that is that energy. A lot of times we call in towards us tower moments because we're feeling like a victim, when we're like, everybody's against me, or I just can't win, or things like that. When we get into that, guess what happens? We call in situations like that. And I know a lot of masculines have lined themselves up with karmics who are so practiced in calling in that sort of energy, and so it really makes sense. And with the gateway coming, that makes sense too. So check out the gateway reading, and check out the reading I did for the next 6 days. Now, with the High Priestess, it's interesting. She's right in the middle between the 2 Swords cards and the 3 of Pentacles and the Devil reversed. So right in the middle is Divine Feminine. And on the other side of Divine Feminine is 3 of Pentacles reversed and the Devil reversed, which is like, this, what I get the sense of is that there are a great number of us who have been learning to speak our truths and not to be afraid of it. And the 3 of Pentacles can often be like the bloggers or YouTubers card. It's also like, it's kind of a Capricorn card in the sense of it being about social architecture. And it's also about getting spiritual guidance. But in reverse, well, it's also about third-party situations, which is really interesting. But so I'm being called to both, is that it's likely if you've been glowing up and you've been speaking truths and you've been helping other people and you've been very open about it, that is creating all sorts of shifts in the third-party situations that they're in, most especially if you've not been interfering in their situations. You've just been doing your own thing, which is you breaking free from the old toxic cycles that you had going on with your masculines. And it also tells me that they're ready to break free of it, especially, in fact, I'm hearing, and I heard it early, oh man, I heard it yesterday. I heard it in my head, and then I heard it in a commercial, and I'm hearing it now. It's really funny. The song from Queen called I Want to Break Free. I want to break free. Oh, how I want to break free. And watch it. I love the music video of that. Like, when they did that music video, they were one of the first a male group that dressed up as women, and it was they were like singing for the housewives and those that felt trapped in old traditional relationships where they weren't allowed to go out and explore and be themselves and have careers and families and have men help with the house and stuff. And they're like, I want to break free of that. And so it's funny. So to have that energy come up again a third time in there, that's definitely in there. Like, I mean, come on, 9 of Swords, 7 of Swords reversed, 3 of Pentacles reversed, the Devil reversed. They want to break free. They want to break free of toxicity. And right, I'm gonna put this. This is funny. This is very peacock-ish, and I know other readers have called it peacock energy, but look at what's right in the middle. Probably you. And if not you specifically, then spirit of divine feminine in general is in there. And tomorrow being 12/12. That's 3/3, right? And 3 and 3 equals 6, which is lovers. So divine feminine energy enhanced, right? And 12/21 is also 3/3. So there's something that you're doing that is inspiring them. So keep doing it. And it's also ruffling feathers, and you know, feel free to be the peacock in this moment, because then they'll reflect you and be it in a healthy way. Now the homophone card that I got is the deer card. It's interesting too, because it almost popped out as the deer, and I was like, oh dear, which is something that my masculine likes to say because his mom would say that. But it made sure that it came out on this postcard side, and it's got a pen there, and what it tells me is that your masculines are working very hard to figure out how to kind of explain themselves. I can't say that it's going to come soon. I don't have a sense of whether it's going to come soon or it's going to come later, but they're thinking about it. They're writing to you, and they're almost writing to you as if they're starting to change their thinking from, I've been away in a relationship and done horrible things, to, I've just kind of been on this like long spirit walk. I've been on this weird vacation where like I was stripped away of all my ego stuff, and it's like they're getting ready to write you a postcard as if they're just away on a vacation, going like a work vacation almost, like, you know what, I miss you, and I'm sorry I haven't been able to connect with you as much as I know that you really deserve, and I do intend to change that, and I've got some more work left, but here's a pretty postcard with a pretty picture on it, and I want you to know that I love you. And I do think that this side with the deer is relevant. It's a Christmas type thing. It might also, deers might be specific to your masculine. You don't know. It is for me with my masculine. But because it's a baby deer, I'm really getting this sense that masculines kind of like that born again feeling. Like they're waking up from a very intense dark night of soul and feeling a little wobbly-legged, you know, like when the deer is just born and it's like trying to get its legs, and it gets it very fast, but it's still like wobbly and like whoa, 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 you know. Oh dear, right? And I also noticed when I shuffled the deck and I put it down, this card was on top, sail, movement. And the more of that vacation energy, they're thinking about travel. And there's all the colors of the chakras in there too. They're like they're calling in soul pieces, maybe not intentionally, but they're doing that, and it'd be good for you to work on that too. And I think there's a bit of a focus too on learning to enjoy the healthy stuff, eating the salad, so to speak. Now, the last card I'm going to do for this check-in is one of the Divine Circus cards, and I love it. And I'm laughing because the card of all cards to come up for a masculine check-in. Look at that. The Sacred Fool. And it's card number 28, which equals 10. And how funny is that? Because we've been talking about like one spin away, right? And also the awakening of things and the great unraveling and stuff. So let me read this card to you. It is a very relevant and very good card. Imagine a life free from concern about the opinions of other people. A life where you feel brave enough, free enough, trusting enough to play the fool. To make a choice even if it seems illogical, unreasonable, daring, or downright foolish. Cast aside sensible opinions and poker faces. The Sacred Fool invites you to live unafraid, to take a risk and step away from the confines of what seems sensible and logical in life. There's much to be said for common sense, practicality, and a grounded approach, especially with spiritual matters and creating a life that fulfills your dreams. But if you are really going to live, love, thrive, and create this lifetime to be original, then you are also going to need to be willing to run the risk of being seen to be a fool. Some people will call you stupid, naive, foolish, and delusional if you dare to dream and follow that dream in all ways you can possibly imagine. If you refuse to give up, even if others tell you that it hasn't happened by now, it's not going to happen, then they might say you are a child, silly, disconnected from their idea of the real world. Don't listen to these voices. They don't understand that the power of the fool is truth. In the court, the fool was the one the king would trust and ask for advice. Why? Because he was allowed to speak the truth. Because he was allowed to speak truth where others would try to make politically smart choices to win them power. The fool just called the spade a spade. When the fool in you speaks, it's to tell you something true. It might seem inconvenient, frightening, or exciting. It might turn your world upside down or inspire you with greater happiness and faith. It's not your job to reason it away or say that it's too difficult or dangerous or potentially deluded to act upon the truth. It's your job to remember that this game of life can only be won if you are willing to take the risk and play it. So when the sacred fool is part of your hand, listen up. Take a chance, take a risk, and forget about what other people think. Instead, listen to yourself and live true. The affirmation for this card is, Sacred Fool, set me free, to live as I need to be, wildly and divinely me. Which, for those of you watching this video, whether you are Divine Masculine or Divine Feminine, I recommend that you make that your mantra for a little while, because you're going to be reflecting each other. And the more that you embrace that, the more that they embrace that. I'm going to end this reading here. Thank you so much for all your likes, shares, comments, love, appreciation for yourself as much as for me. All right, I'll catch you in the next video.